Welcome to Coast with New Canaan Society. The first week of each month, the New Canaan Society podcast flies to the 30,000-foot level. Soaring across the country, we go coast to coast about men, our movement, and deeper meaning. So hold on. With Manhattan chapter Dr. Chip Roper on the East Coast and NCS President Mason Rutledge on the West Coast, here we go. Coast to Coast.
Now, you seem like a music guy. I mean, you were in a band in the 80s. I'm guessing were you a Wham UK guy? Is that kind of your...
What are you trying to imply with that question? Are you kidding me? But here's the funny thing, because the George Michael song Last Christmas or whatever was just playing on the Apple Christmas station.
That's what I was just singing.
It just was there. It's like, come on.
I wrapped it up and sent it with a note saying, I love you, forget it, or something like that. I don't know what it is. It's really meaningful, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because this is our January episode, but we are recording it at the end of December.
Yeah, it seems
so it's going to be
100% authentic.
No, it's fake authentic. It's not a fake authentic. Seems like that should be a thing. That's the band. That's what the band should be called.
Fake authentic.
Fake authentic. Playing tonight, fake authentic.
There you go.
How you doing, Chip? It's been a while.
It's been a little while. Hey, we're racing to the finish line of this year and getting ready for the new one. So I'm still racing.
As am I. Isn't it? I mean, it's just crazy. I went down every Thursday when I'm in town. I go into downtown Seattle, and there's a group of us that pray in the main kind of city square, Westlake Park. And today, as I was going down there, I was like, "What? I have got so much to do. I'm making phone calls the whole way. The driving with the knees and everything. It's just bad. Just you could shame me later." And
I want to shame you now, but that's fine. I'll be patient.
Yeah, you can shame me now and later. Honestly, I'm a Lutheran kid. I'm used to it. Used to shame, and which is funny because the Lutherans fall on grace. I get down there to pray, and I'm just like, I have got to be making phone calls. I got a ton of calls, thank you calls, and other calls, and asks, and God just reminded me, pray. Take the time and pray. Take advantage of the opportunity. And it was a gift. It was really a gift of a time, honestly.
That's interesting. I didn't have that.
You did not have that. You were just go
No,
gadget
I'd say
all
what
day,
I had
right?
over the last 24 hours was just a couple of sort of people that needed my attention.
Are you talking about me?
Well, then there's you. I said people.
Yeah. What?
No, I wasn't talking about you. It's a little different. I don't want to go into too many details because it's just not appropriate.
Okay,
but it's just like people that just needed attention, where it's not gonna feed into the year end. Check the box. I got everything done, which I need to get done. So, and it was just. I think that's also a God thing, just to trust Him.
We are supposed to be talking about 2024, but I think you've nailed on something there that we all deal with, which is there's the non-urgent and important quadrant 3. Is that what it is?
Eisenhower Matrix, Stephen Covey,
all of them, and yet we are constantly bombarded with the urgent, not important. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, urgent, not important.
Screaming, but it's not.
That's like
fire, nothing's on fire.
And everybody that imitates Chicken Little in your relational network.
Right.
It is interesting though. Sometimes though, I don't think that's what my experience just the last 24 hours is not. It is people that are not. Well, everybody's important, but like their thing is urgent to them. But it didn't fit into my. It's an interruption.
Yeah, that's.
But I think
good.
sometimes we just have to stop for those people, and it's hard. That's a hard thing for me to do.
Dude, you're just killing me right now. When I used to when I managed Young Life staff, I would tell them that in December you had 3 things to do. I've told you this before, I believe. The 3 F's. You have family, you have festivities, and you have fundraising. I don't want you doing anything else. If you're telling me you're getting your teeth cleaned in December, I'm saying you're making a mistake. Get it done in December, in January or November, because your day is going to fill up. But routinely, all these interruptions come to me in these critical months, because we're picking blackberries basically, and
I
those
thought BlackBerry went
blackberries
out
are
of
gonna be-
business.
I don't know about this aside. I held on to my BlackBerry a long time. You could talk to my friends in 20, what would it have been, like 2014 or so, 2015. I was still carrying a BlackBerry. Would that be possible? I think so. Anyway, the point being, there's the blackberries are ripe. Their time to pick them is now. That's fundraising. But when you get to January, those blackberries are dead on the vine. There's no. You ask somebody for a donation in January, they look at you like they're crazy. You're crazy, even though they might have donor advised funds or whatever to get after it on. It's an interesting time.
It is.
And we're both doing it.
Yeah, we're both in that.
Now you're looking good again. Have you lost a few lbs once more? We're on Zoom, by the way. I know not everybody else could see your rugged.
You say that every time. I think you're just trying to get me to come back and record another episode.
The other we're at a Christmas party on Sunday afternoon, and I'm chunking. I'm at my fighting weight right now. I'm a big boy. And this guy says to me across the table, he goes, "You're looking good. You lost some weight." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Just get a little tan and smile, and people think you lost weight.
No, I said to Brenda later, "What was that guy talking about?" She goes, "Well, the sweater you're wearing makes you look thin." I was like, "Well, what does everything else make me look like?" Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know. This is more talk that's not needed.
All right, so 2024.
2024, and it's like a whole new year.
It's a good number. Like I like the even numbers better than the odd numbers for some reason.
What year were you born in?
67.
Bam. Oh, whoops.
I was odd.
See, because I was 64. I'm.
So do you like the evens or the odds better?
Even feels cleaner to me. The math, it's divisible by 2.
2024 is fun to say. Like, let's do more in 24. It rhymes. Right. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Right. I don't think 23 was divisible by anything. What's that called?
It's like a prime number.
Numerator? I don't know.
A numerator. All right. Keep Mason away from the books, friends. In fact, check all his numbers, his year-end numbers. The numerator.
Hey, my state education's done me well. Go Cougs.
So let's talk about year ending, year beginning. What do you do with that? Do you have a ritual? Do you do resolutions? What's that look like?
Yeah, I really don't do resolutions, but I find myself regularly having a resolution when I head into the year. It feels like something. Like
that's an interesting way to say it.
Isn't that funny?
I don't do resolutions, but I have them.
But they kind of show up on me. It's like last year, a friend of mine ran 1,000 miles in 2022, and then I heard about it, and I was like, I'm going to do that in 2023. So I'm currently 21 miles from getting 1,000 miles in 2023.
That's great.
I'll get
Let me ask you about something. Yeah. Is that a resolution or a goal? And what's the difference?
Oh, yeah. No, that would be that's a commitment. It's a goal. A resolution a resolution sounds like an intention.
Yeah, like a pledge.
A goal
I'm not going to eat
like
as much dessert. I'm not going to drink as much.
I resolve.
I'm not going to be a jerk as much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But if it's a goal, and this is just also my upbringing a little bit. If it's a goal, it's like, well, dang, that's going to happen. Rutledges don't miss goals. We crush goals. So that would be the difference for me. But I don't know. Do you do resolutions?
No.
Do you believe in them? No. Have you ever? I've done them in the past. I've tried them.
I
It's like
guess
mushrooms.
so. I don't know. I do.
Yeah.
I do goals. I assess. I try and assess the year gone by. What do I want to? What do I want to accomplish in the year ahead? It's usually a broad, for my like personal, spiritual life kind of stuff. My work, family stuff too. So it's like I think I do some assessment. Sometimes we do it as a family. Actually, we have everybody say, what was a high and low of the year going by, and what do you want to accomplish in the year ahead? And we try and capture some of that. That's kind of a fun thing to do with our family.
You're so healthy. You're so
I'm
healthy.
not healthy. The other thing I've been doing for a while, I heard a CEO told me of a nonprofit told me this, and then I did some research on it. A lot of football teams script the first 15 plays of the game. It's like a thing.
Right.
And then after that, they kind of, they get into a more responsive mode based on the way the game's going and that kind of thing. So I've kind of adopted this practice of scripting out, like, what are my first 15 plays of the year? Like, what are the things I want to do, get done, to get the year off with great momentum. So that's something I like. And it's more than just one thing. It's enough things that it usually takes the whole first quarter, or even sometimes longer, but it's a bit more work oriented for me. But it's still kind of cool. We have our whole team doing it this year. And then the other thing that we do in our New Canaan Society Energy Group is we have a word for the year. We pick a word that's like captures kind of what we think we need to focus on to be better men in the coming year. Again, it's not so much a resolution; it's more like a theme. So
Wasn't the word of the year this year like Swifty or something like that?
no, she's the person of the year. The word,
No, I
the
think that
word
was
of the year
Oh,
is authentic, according to Merriam-Webster.
oh, well, no, there was another word I heard that was pretty good too. That was like when you're in not a relationship, but you're in a convenient ship or something like that. It's a relationship that you're in when it's, I'm totally messing this up. But so what's the word of the day? What's the word of the year for your energy group?
It's not for our whole group. Each of us have
individuals.
our own word.
Okay.
Yeah, so my word last year was diligence. And it's an intriguing idea to me because diligence is the cutting away of the extraneous, which kind of gets back to what you were saying before about urgent versus important and stuff. So it's a cutting away of the extraneous to focus on what's important. And the other thing that interests me about it in Proverbs, diligence has two opposites, which is technically impossible. Yeah, it's the Bible. One opposite is laziness, and we all get that. Like we say, oh yeah, there's a diligent person is like focused and working hard, and they're not lazy.
Right.
The other opposite is haste, hurry, rushing, and it's like
That's the opposite of diligence?
Yeah, haste. It's because like a lot of the Proverbs compare two ideas, and so it'll compare like the diligent get abundance, but the lazy don't get anything. But it also says the same thing about the hasty. The hasty don't get abundance to share and that kind of thing. They just blow through everything. So it's really interesting. It's a really interesting comparison.
So what I'm hearing you say, and I think this is good, is it's good to, and I do this, is just take some time at the start of the year, end of the year, to evaluate, just to reflect on how you've done. How is life going? Not how you've done, but more just take an inventory on how you're doing, how you are, your being. And then a tool would be something like a word of the year, setting some goals, like here's some immediate, the first 15 plays of a quarter of a year. I use the Entrepreneurial Operating System for work. EOS.
That's right.
EOS.
So you're talking about your big rocks.
my rocks, first quarter rocks. And the first quarter rocks are fun because in my world, the first quarter is usually not there's not urgent things. You could think about big picture, dream, what could happen. And so I always enjoy, and I don't know if that's going to be true with New Canaan Society. It has been.
You don't know if you're going to enjoy the New Canaan Society?
No, we have regional retreats
that
coming
out
up.
yet.
So the first quarter might be packed with regional retreat things because we've got New England, or Northeast, Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, Texas, all coming up in March and May. And I think San Francisco's in May as well, California. So there's going to be a lot there. But I do take time to just ponder. It's just a good time to do that. There's space in our schedules. Things are closed. People wind down. There's less parties. Brenda and I are doing it once again, an Epiphany dinner on the first Saturday, or it's on January 6th, which that date's kind of been ruined now, but that's when it is. You just do a blessing upon your home and upon the homes of others, and it's that kind of just a fresh slate start that's good to the year. So I think it is important just to take time to recognize that for the men that we work with, because oftentimes life is so busy, we don't get times to reflect and to slow down. And hopefully that's happening in the New Canaan chapter. Hopefully it's happening in a New Canaan Society energy group, but you do need to make that space at some level.
Yeah, Tom Cole, who is the
former
mayor of NCS Manhattan, board member, and he's I think the mayor of Naples now, or co-mayor. That's a new position, by the way. I didn't know if you knew that.
Is that mayor?
We've
I didn't
changed
know
it since we just it's New Canaan. We just decided.
I want to get one of those mayor. I'll get you one of those Mayor McCheese.
But Tom
outfits.
talks about like in corporate, you're always doing you do year-end evaluations for all your team members, and you get evaluated. It's like we should do it for ourselves on a broader list of categories, not just our work performance. And I think it's really good.
I did notice I pulled up some old Christmas greetings, and there was one that Tom did in the Manhattan chapter a few years ago, and he listed the things he'd learned that year. And it was just like, wow, way to go to take the time. I mean, this guy at the top of his game, towards the end of his career, and he's still engaging. That maybe is the biggest principle: is be a lifelong learner. Don't stop.
Which requires
learning.
Reflection.
It does. It takes examination.
So do you think guys do that? Do you think guys stop and pause and reflect?
Well, this is the interesting thing. When we say guys, we have in our minds pictures of the guys we know.
Yeah, I'm thinking of
the guys we know.
NCS men.
I think NCS men.
That sounds pretty good, by the way. NCS men.
Yeah, they are way above average. I mean, light years ahead of. I'm just telling. That's the truth.
Above average. That's funny.
Most men are not anywhere near that. They're not doing. So when you say, are men doing it? No. Are NCS men doing it? Yes. Could they do it more? Yes. Could they do it with greater intentionality? Of course. Could they invite other people into that? Absolutely. So yeah, we need to do it. And I think, honestly, that last point, I do think we need to invite some other people into it. I was just, there's a small group of guys that I meet with, or like an energy group. It predates NCS for me, that I just met with them on Thursday. And those guys spoke into my life in some different topics. And even yesterday, I probably spent an hour and 10 minutes on the phone with one of those guys talking about those things. And Mike was super helpful in helping me think through, what am I doing? How am I doing it? And I need that because I can't see my blind spots. They're blind spots, called blind spots for a reason. So I think there needs to be time for reflection with the Lord, listening to what He has to say, reflection on our own, reflecting with our family, spouse, close friends, and then family members, and then with really close buddies that know you well and can know have your flank, if you will.
That's really good.
There's gift. That's a gift.
I think it is
Yeah.
really good, and it's like it's sort of the data gathering part of the ending one year, beginning another. It's reality therapy. It's tuning in to what's going on, and I actually think that one of the reasons maybe guys we don't do that as much as we could or as intensively as we could is A, we could be afraid of what we're going to find there, or B, we've done this before and you just end up like looking at all this
Yeah.
all the overwhelming gaps in your life, and we have a hard time connecting it with grace.
And giving ourselves grace.
Yeah.
And again, I'd put the NCS guys above average. You like that phrase? They're way above average in not giving themselves grace.
I gotta tell you why I'm breaking out
I
the
know-
hives
I know.
of above average, because we in a school district where we used to live, they had it wasn't average. It just reminded me of this. They had a plaque on the wall that said adequate performance improvement from the state, and it was just like, who authorized that to put that on the wall, and why? You know, so when you just say
Well,
above
I
average, it's
think-
kind of like, well, we all think we're like slightly above average, right? Like, you know, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It just,
No, we definitely adequately kind of meet the mark.
yeah, it's like, I mean, maybe we just need to
Yeah.
get some NCS exceptionalism.
I this is where I do think we need to maybe lean in a little bit more into helping each other out. To put an arm around a buddy and say, you know, like this is what you said, this is what I heard. Is this what you meant?
Yeah. It's active listening and not just taking things at face value.
Right, because there is we are a grace-filled movement. There is no doubt about it. God did come with grace and truth. He's equal parts both, and we need to bring truth sometimes. Even a buddy of mine I was talking to earlier this week. I don't like the foul mouth so much, but he was even dropping the Lord's name a couple times. And this guy is a believer, and he's a good friend. I'm gonna have to go back to him and go, hey, you can do whatever you want on the swearing, but you can't say the Lord's name in vain. With it, that just throws me off.
You mean as part of your interview process for NCS, they didn't give you a swearing test?
I didn't. I don't remember that. Was it written or verbal?
It's verbal. They want to hear you swear. They want to see how authentic it sounds. I can't believe they forgot to do that.
No, I don't remember. Maybe I just volunteered and I didn't even know I was doing
I
it.
don't know. Anyway, no.
I think one thing needs to be said though on this is that some guys are going to hear this on January 3rd, January 4th, January 5th and think to themselves, crap, I missed
Yeah, but
it.
that's not true.
I should have done it.
That's
I
not
didn't."
true.
And that's not true.
not
That's
true.
not true. This should be I know we look at the beginning of the year, but this should be an everyday kind of deal where we're going, how is life going? How am I doing? Examining.
That's right.
To just take some time to do it.
And I think the other thing I just want to throw into this is because of grace, we don't have to be afraid of what we find there.
We do not have to be afraid. No.
And we can face our weaknesses. We can fake our disaster dumpster fire failures, and know that we're going to be forgiven, and that we're not just going to be forgiven. That God's going to give us the power to change. Some of that power is delivered through each other. But I think you don't want to play most of us don't want to play a game we know we're going to lose. And I wonder if that's part of the dynamic with saying, oh, well, I'm going to look inside. I'm going to assess the year. I'm going to do it multi-qualities. I'm not just going to look at, how do I feel, but I'm going to look at how do my family feel if I have a family, or I'm going to spiritual things and that kind of thing. And it's like, I don't want to play a losing game.
I think it's obviously a very good word for them in terms of the Lord. I also want those men to know, and your story is welcome at New Canaan Society. There is no story that you're going to share that we're not going to say, we love you, welcome home, we're glad you're here. We want to embrace you in those places. We don't want you to avoid those stories. we are men of our story. We are men of story. This is what we do in New Canaan Society. We believe the gospel's still being written in the lives and hearts of men around the United States. And but if you don't share it, and it won't be a gift to you or to us. So bring it. And if you're breaking the law or somebody's in danger, we might need to make a call. But otherwise, you're going to be in great shape. Come on.
Well, definitely if somebody's in danger. I'm just wondering how many
breaking the laws
NCS guys have you reported for speeding recently, Mason?
I sped on the way home, so I'm admitting it now, and I'll wait for my satisfactory.
Yeah, just give me the call of the local police
yeah.
department, and I'll take care of that. Your accountability.
It was it was funny when and back when I was working with kids, you'd tell kids, this is a safe place to share, but you always had to say, unless you or somebody else is in danger. That was the quantifier. And when I used to say, I was like, that's malarkey. Why do I even have to say it? Until you get into a situation, you go, wow, I'm glad there. The thing I'd say about that, even with New Canaan Society, we're still going to be with you in it. Regardless, we're going to be with you in all these things. And that's not something like some promise that we just dreamt up and put on a card. It's actually how we've lived for a long, long time. And we can line up guys that we've walked with, and I would say that we have walked with them in these hard times. So, but 2024, I believe, is going to be a great year. It's divisible by multiple numbers. It's not a numerator. It's fun to say. It can rhyme with stuff. There's more in 24. On and on you could go. So I think we got a lot to look forward to this year, Chip, and I'm looking forward to walking with it and you and the men in New Canaan Society.
I agree. I really agree. I think we've got some great regional retreats planned. We'll have new chapters coming online. Great board retreat coming up. A lot of momentum, and it's gonna be great.
January 4th, I'm going to be in Valparaiso, Indiana, where the first meeting will happen for the Northwest Indiana New Canaan Society chapter, New Canaan Society Valparaiso. And that's January 4th. And then February 6th, I'll be in downtown Nashville or Music City, Nashville for our Music City chapter, their first meeting. So we already know of 2 chapters that are launching. So I do think there's a lot of momentum, and the retreats are like going to be gangbusters. I mean, that one you guys put together in the Northeast, I mean, come on. John Tyson.
It's going to be great.
Best-selling author. Kevin Singleton, Grammy winner. We got an NFL quarterback down at the Southeast Mid-Atlantic with Jeff Kemp. And Texas is doing, they're totally underground. They're not even telling me what they're doing. It's going to be so awesome in the first week of March outside Houston. So,
excellent.
Chip, Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year, Mason. Great to have you traveling with us. Happy New Year, guys, to all of you. And 2024 blessings to your families.
NCS Coast to Coast in 2024. Here's a resolution. Like it, make a comment, share it with your friends, and make a commitment to be with us every month.
Make
all
it
right,
a goal.
Chip. God bless you,
God bless you.
Yeah. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the New Canaan Society podcast. Remember to subscribe and comment. For more about NCS, go to newcanansociety.org. God bless.